how's it going? It's Jamie, the crafty DIY guy. Welcome to my channel. For those of you that know me and know me well, you know that I love to shop. And all of these projects today are incorporated from some of those shopping hauls. This includes thrift stores like Goodwill or Value Village, and it also includes places like Dollar General, Pop Shelf, and Dollar Tree. And of course, before we get into any of these DIYs, I have to say thank you to all of my long-term subscribers. You know I call you guys my OGs. I appreciate you being here so much. If you're brand new to the channel, welcome. Hopefully you will become a subscriber and one day reach OG status as well. If YouTube happened to recommend this video to you, then of course, thank you, YouTube, and let's get started. Right, everyone, and for the first project, I'm going to be taking this clock. You may remember this as the Coca-Cola clock that I picked up at Value Village a couple weeks ago in one of my hauls. I went ahead and just took everything apart because I wanted to make sure that I could actually take it apart. And then for that price tag that's on the front there on the glass, I'm just going to actually use some hand sanitizer. This hand sanitizer, I believe, was picked up at Dollar Tree, maybe it was even Dollar General. I'm just going to rub a little bit of that hand sanitizer directly on there, and then I'm going to take a rag and just wipe it off. Once that is clean, I'm going to take that glass and set it aside, and then we are going to start working on the clock face itself. Now for the clock face, I did go ahead and kind of have to rip off those Coca-Cola bears that were on there. They were kind of in the inside of this black circle that you see. This is the pieces that came off. I was hoping to be able to use this as a template, but as you can see, that is not going to work for me. So instead, what I'm going to do is take the outside of the clock, the silver part, and I'm going to use the center of that clock as my template. So I'm taking a piece of wood grain contact paper from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to draw with the pencil a circle, and then I'm going to cut it out. Now, once that is all cut out, I am going to take a piece of thin cardboard and also use that template to make the clock face a little bit sturdier. The contact paper alone would not hold in that space. So instead, what I'm going to do is stick this to this thin piece of cardboard and use that as my clock face. So once I have everything traced out, I just simply cut the cardboard and then took that contact paper and glued it right on top. Once I had my cardboard set, I went ahead and took a pencil and just poked a hole in the center of it. That way my clock mechanism could stick through there. Now I'm going to take my contact paper from Dollar Tree and that circle that I cut out, and I'm just going to stick it on top of the cardboard just like this. Removing the backing can certainly be a little challenging, but once it is removed, it does stick pretty well to that cardboard. Then I did go ahead and poke a hole through the contact paper as well. After my contact paper wood face was all set, I did go ahead and just stick the clock mechanism back through the clock itself. I peeled away any of that excess contact paper that might have been in the way, and then I simply just reassembled the clock just the way that I took it off. I started with the large hand, then the other hand, and then the ticker hand. And I guess I did this the right way because once I finished assembling it, everything was working properly. Then I took the clock and added the face back on, or the trim, I guess, of the frame of the clock back in. All I did was just simply put that clock face down and then use those snaps that were built into that frame to secure everything in place. I absolutely love this clock. It is a super modern interpretation. I've seen clocks very similar to this as high as $60 in store, and I was able to make mine for $3. And for my next project, I'm going to be using one of these wood United States maps. I picked this up at Pop Shelf. You should be able to find this at places like Dollar General, or probably even something very similar at Michael's. I'm also going to be taking one of these wood puzzles from Dollar Tree. This has a wood backing to it, and that's the most important part. You're not going to actually use the puzzle part for this one. And then I'm also going to be using some antiquing wax. So the first thing I did was remove the plastic from my puzzle, and you will see that all of these puzzle pieces will fall out. We want to make sure that those stay in place, and even though this is going to be the back of the puzzle and you're not really going to see it, I am going to go ahead and just glue everything in place, kind of like you see here. You could certainly cover this with contact paper or a sheet of construction paper or fabric if you wanted to give it a more high-end look, but you certainly don't have to because this is going to be hanging up against the wall. Once those puzzle pieces are secured in place, then I'm going to take some antiquing wax and I am just going to cover the back side of my puzzle. This will actually become the front of my project that I'm working on, and I am just going to take this antiquing wax and I'm going to apply it very, very liberally all over the back of this puzzle backing, and then I'm going to take a clean cloth and a semi-clean cloth, and I'm going to wipe away any of that excess wax. You could certainly keep this on if you wanted to have something darker. Just know that it is going to take a little while to dry. Now I'm going to take my navy chalk paint. This is chalk art paint from A Maker Studio, and I am going to give my United States map a very nice coating. I'm going to cover everything in this dark navy blue, and I will end up doing 2 coats. For this paint itself, what I loved about it is when it goes on really, really dark, it has a gorgeous, gorgeous color, but then you will see once I take my heat gun to it, it starts to lighten up and you really see the true color of this paint. Again, that's also really cool because you can know when it's dry. Once everything was dry, my initial thought was just to glue this down directly on top of that wood plaque itself. By the way, I did add that rope treatment, as you can see to the back. I decided to go ahead and elevate the map off of that wood board. So I'm actually going to use some of these wood Jenga pieces. These are the ones that are already painted that dark brown. You can pick up that pack that has the 2 different colors in it. I'm going to add 3 or 4 to the back of my United States map, and then I'm going to glue this down directly to my wood surface. By the way, the glue that I'm using in my glue gun is actually Surebonder's glue sticks that are for wood. This is a wood glue that you can pick up from Surebonder. I've got a link in my profile if you want to check that out below. Once those had dried and glued in place, then I added some more glue on top of each one of those Jenga block pieces, and then I stuck this down directly on top of my sign. I love the way this looks. I think if I would have had a set of those battery operated LED string lights, I probably would have also strung this in between the map and the backing of my plaque here, because I think that that would have been a really, really cool accent lamp. But maybe you can do that if you're going to make this for your project. Now, once this is all done, this is what it looks like, and I love the way this looks hanging on the wall. Again, this is so my style, and I really love the way that this turned out. And for my next project, I'm going to be using that wall hanging that I picked up from Goodwill. I also have this mason jar hanger that I grabbed the last time I was at Dollar Tree, and a small mason jar that this lid will fit on top of. First thing I did was take my plaque hanger thing, and I'm just going to give everything a light coating of sandpaper. I'm going to just cover this, and sorry about hitting the camera there. I'm just going to go over this very, very lightly with the same grain of the wood, because I just want to remove any kind of grime or anything. I don't know if this was in somebody's attic or a garage, but I just wanted to make sure that my antiquing wax was going to adhere to this very nicely. So once I did a nice heavy coating of antiquing wax like I always do, then I took a clean rag like you see here, and I'm just going to wipe up and down. I'm also going to do this in the same motion, not the same motion, but the same line or the same way the wood is. So the grain of the wood, that's what I was trying to say. I did go ahead and take my lid and just add it to my mason jar. And now I'm actually going to put some Dollar Tree nautical rope on the back of this. Even though there are hangers that are built into the back of this, I just wanted something a little bit different looking. So I'm just going to take my nautical rope and just glue that down, make sure that it's good and solid, and then I'm going to add my mason jar, some flowers, and hang it on the wall. This is what it looks like when it's all done. I absolutely love this. It's modern, it's got an industrial edge, and it is perfect for my living room.